Yes, people, what's happening? We've got a banging show for you tonight. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend and are still enjoying it. I've got a lit panel tonight. I can't even lie. There's a couple more going to be joining us as well. Big up, Billy. How are you, bro?
Yeah, not too bad, time, mate. Enjoying the weather over here. But yeah, not the heat. As bad as that one sounds. I'm enjoying the sun being out, but the heat's a killer.
Yeah, man, I bet it is, bro. And I see you rocking the new shirt, the new Villa jersey, man.
Yes, mate. Of course.
The badge has changed. The badge has changed.
Yes. What's going on with the badge is anyone's guess. We've got new badge on the new kits and the training gear. We're keeping the old badge on the socials and Sky and everything like that. Don't ask.
Well, mate, it's a pleasure to see you, man. And I hope it's nice weather over there in Spain. Big up to debut on the channel, man, but not a debut for me. Steve, what you telling me, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm sound, mate. Obviously, reveling in Liverpool's newfound financial freedom and the signing we've made, which I'm sure we'll get into. So, it's nice to see no spaces about FSG out. So, I'll leave it there. It's all good, that. All good.
Fair play to you, man. Fair play to you. Big up, Joe. What you saying, bro? Been a while, man. How are you?
Still clinging on that. I mean, still clinging on to that Premier League life. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll just keep making these appearances. Keep my seat warm. That's it, mate.
Listen, I know Leeds are down, but you're not, bro. You're always welcome here, man. You know that, fam. So it's all good, brother. It's all good. Someone who's definitely not going to be down unless FFP gets involved is LB. What you saying, Lewis? You good, bruv?
I'm very well, man. FFP ain't affecting us. We just launched a £80 million bid for Gvardiol. It's looking like. So, what is FFP, man? It's not even
It's a small change. Small change for City, mate. Small change for City. Do you know what I'm saying? Small change. Listen, we might as well start with you, Lou, because everyone's trying to chase you boys at the moment. And I've put together a bit of a title today looking at how we're going to catch up with you guys. And it isn't just about the people on the panel. It's just a general conversation around football teams and who they think everyone can, how people can catch you, really, more than anything. We give it a good go last year. Liverpool in the last few years are giving it a good go. And it ain't quite been good enough. Liverpool did the business on you for one of those years, but I can't lie to you, man. It looks like City are absolutely dominating. And you've made some good signings, man. If Gvardiol comes over the line, Kovacic coming in, you're linked with obviously other players as well. But as far as a Man City's kind of fans concerned, where's your head at, man, in terms of the other teams around?
Where's your head at? You sound like someone off Love Island, man. Where's your head at?
I've just been watching it, mate.
Yeah, that's
you know what? It's because Molly's back, man. I had to catch up on that quick. Do you know what I'm saying? But no, listen, you've got to be looking at all the other teams at the moment and having a little bit of a quiet look at what people are doing, the business that's going on around you. What are you thinking now going into the new season and looking at what Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, United, etc. are doing?
I'm excited, bro. I'm excited because I think teams are making moves. I think Liverpool have rectifying their issues and they're looking strong, and I fully expect a huge title charge from Liverpool going into this season. By the way, are we going into this? Are we in this season? Or are we next season?
Yeah, we'll go for this season. Last season's old news. Like some boring team did the treble.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get
some boring team who keep messing up FFP did the treble. We'll forget about them. Let's move on to next season.
I think Liverpool, man. But I think Liverpool are going to launch a charge. I think because the thing is about Liverpool, is that if they can get Salah playing at 80% of his ability, I fully expect Núñez to have a better season than he did last year. Diaz was out pretty much all year, I think, last year. They've improved the midfield, and I think by improving the midfield, that'll probably improve the defense as well. They will launch it, and I'm skeptical about whether or not Liverpool will be asked about the Europa League, which I don't know. Maybe they'll just kill it off and just go for the Prem. If they do that, that might help them. But maybe they will go for the Europa League. Who knows? And then I look at Arsenal and I think, you know what? I had doubts about whether or not Arsenal would make serious moves in this window. And, they're making moves. You know what I mean? They've signed, obviously, Declan Rice is going to get done. Havertz is an interesting one, but it improves the squad depth at a bare minimum. Timber's looking like it's going to get done as well. That's looking like a good signing. So, yeah, I think the only one that's really taken me by shock in terms of they're not making moves is probably Man United. I'm looking at United going, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you're not making any moves. So I think right now there's 3 teams as it stands that are going to go for it. I think it's going to be City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. But I think the way it's moving, I think we're going to be in for a very, very entertaining season.
Yeah, man. Listen, big up, Pete. Hope you're well, bruv. Thanks for jumping on, my friend. We're talking about teams that can compete with Manchester City. And a lot of people, if I'm honest with you, I've talked about your club, Pete. I can't lie. A lot of people I've spoken to said it's going to be Newcastle. They're in the best position. They're best place for it. You've always been humble, Pete. I'm going to say this to you. You've always been pretty, do you know what? This season coming, give me Champions League again and a trophy and I'm happy. Could Newcastle be in the running for a title challenge, do you think?
Honestly, I'd love to say yes. But you know what? I'd take that second option that you gave me as Champions League and the trophy. Look, it's been a long time since we've had a trophy. Yeah, and I'd quite happily take one of those off Man City and into our back pocket because it's been a long while. But no, honestly, I don't think we'll be in the title race next season. I think just having a good campaign in the Champions League, maintaining what we did last season, will be a very good step for us. But yeah, it's all part of the process, all part of the building blocks. But yeah, I'm excited about next season. Now, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't think Newcastle will be challenging for the title next year. I think they've just got in the Champions League. I think from going from that to challenging for I just don't see it. And I think success for Newcastle would be get back in that Champions League again. Because the worst thing for Newcastle United, in my view, would be to get in the Champions League that they have done now. And regardless of whether they get out the group stages or not, would them to not to qualify for it next year. You know what I mean? I think that would be horrendous for them. So I think get back in that top 4 again next year. Maybe go far in one of the domestic clubs. Try and get out the group stage. I think that'd be a great season. And I also don't think it's good for the manager or the players to have that expectation of, no, we need to be challenging for the league. So I think I agree with Pete's sort of expectations. I think get back in that top 4, and I think that's a major success.
Yeah, man. Listen, let me come to Steve because I've got to say to you, Steve, I've got to say, bro, like Liverpool, get this window right. There's absolutely no reason why Liverpool can't be back up there because you don't need like 9-10 players. We're talking about sorting your midfield out, potentially getting another centre half. And I spoke to you and Errol when I think we were on Twitter threads talking about it. And I honestly stand by that. I think if your midfield could improve and you get a centre back to cover for Van Dijk, who now can't play that 30-40 games a season, can Liverpool be back, do you reckon, Steve?
It's a long way to go because we're going to change the way we play. So the 3 midfielders, you guys remember it with Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Henderson, that's finished. That 4-3-3 can't work, mostly because of what we're doing with Trent at the moment in the hybrid role, pushed him into midfield to give an extra body in there to ask questions of the opposition. So in signing Szoboszlai and McAllister, what we've done there is McAllister was a 10 at Argentinos Juniors. So he's good at that link play. He's good at joining up with the front 3. Szoboszlai is an attacking-minded player who I see at some point in the future being potentially a direct replacement for Mo Salah because he's got time on his side to do that. They will make Liverpool play more in the final third. So as things are, we've got 2 teams in the Premier League in Manchester City and Arsenal who play entirely on the front foot. And they ask you questions all the time. With City, it's like a death by 1,000 cuts. They'll get you one way or another because they just keep recycling the ball and working angles and getting around the back of you and pulling the ball back into the box, which is next to impossible to sort of to defend. Look at Arsenal. It's no surprise Arsenal's style of play is similar to City's because Arteta had his managerial sort of experience and his trade, learning the trade under Guardiola. So there's a lot of similarities between the two. I think Klopp has decided the best way for Liverpool to go forward is to become one of the front foot sides. And the 2 signings, they're not ball recyclers, they're not ball winners who give the ball to the front 3 and let them do the job like Henderson and Wijnaldum did so well years ago. These 2 lads want to get on the ball and make things happen, particularly Szoboszlai, who is really, really creative, and he's got what we've lacked in terms of picking the ball up 25 yards out and getting shots off. He's got that. He's done that at Leipzig. He's done that all of his football career. So it's a different dimension for Liverpool. I had someone mention Núñez before. I have it on really good authority that before the game and for 20 minutes, you can't talk to Núñez. He's so nervous. He's absolute bag of nerves. You can't even speak to him. His head's gone completely. So for 20 minutes, they just kind of let him get on with it until he settles into the game. The front three for Liverpool, for me, Diaz is your shoe-in at left side of midfield. If he hadn't got injured at Arsenal, our season would have looked very different because we didn't have him for 6 months, and that's a long time. Gakpo came into a really disjointed side, is a really, really intelligent footballer, 6'4", can travel with the ball, can hold people off, can bring other people into the game. And Mo Salah's Mo Salah, and I agree with the comment that if we can get Mo Salah scoring 30-plus goals this season, we're in with a shout. You're exactly right about the centre-half situation, Dan, but the point made before, that was a good one. If you sort your midfield out, you sort your defence out. For Van Dijk, it's kind of been like the Alamo this season. And the best example of that would be Dewsbury Hall's goal against Leicester, where he broke a really poor challenge and is clean through. Vardy, being clever, just pulled Van Dijk off in a different direction, and he's clean through on goal. So if you can make your midfield better, you take a little bit of pressure off your back four. So are we challengers? I've been saying for as long as I can remember in recent times that if you finish above Man City, then you're a challenger for the title, because that's the standard bearer, and it'll be exactly the same next year. We will improve. We will improve a lot, but there's still some time needed to gel that side and change the way we play, because we're not going to be playing from a defensive foundation. We're going to be about having the ball in the opposition's half, about creating angles, about third man running, about pulling balls back from the dead ball line. It's going to change for Liverpool. Will it be successful? I'd like to think so. There's a lot of work to do to challenge Manchester City for the Reds.
Yeah, man. Listen, the one thing I agree with you is whoever finishes above Man City are going to win the league. That's for sure. They look ridiculously good, man. Joe, let's get your point of view, seeing as you're neutral now, man. You probably don't give a damn who wins the league, man. I can't even lie to you. But if you was to pick a side at the moment that you think could actually go one better next season and try and get as close as they can to City, who you backing, man?
Yeah, probably Arsenal, just based off last season, probably recency bias. Not sure what Liverpool's going to look like. It's quite, as a neutral, quite exciting hearing Steve talk there, to be honest, about what they're going to look like. I was going to mention Diaz because I really, really rate him. He was the second best Colombian behind Sinisterra in the league last season. But yeah, top player. So him coming back into the side will be exciting. I don't think Newcastle will be able to bridge that gap. And I don't think they'll want to. I'm not like being disrespectful towards Newcastle there. I think, I've heard many Newcastle fans. I think for top six clubs who are there all the time, Newcastle's still pinching themselves, man. They got Champions League. They'll be nice if they get Champions League again. Do you know what I mean? Is there any truth to this? There being 5 places next year?
That's the season after. Am I right, LB?
Is it the season after?
Yeah,
Like
so it's the
5?
coefficient thing, isn't it? It's the
2025. It kicks in 2025. However, it all depends on how our English teams perform in Europe.
Yeah.
So
they go to
at the moment, it's us at the top with, I believe, Italy second, and I think Spain third. I think it's very close between those two. So we're in with a shout. I think the top 2 coefficients get an extra place in the Champions League. So we should be bigging everyone up who's in Europe this season, saying, "Come on, do the business," because
that is it. I don't know about this whole change and all that sort of stuff, but I guess and I look at like Billy on this, like for teams like Villa that are on the up, you just never know, do you? Maybe you could get top 5. But I mean, just on Villa, man, they're signing Pau Torres is unbelievable. I think. I don't know when's Carlos back, Bill, because I think them two is a partnership. Is he back now?
He's back. He was back for the last. He's been back roughly about since March. But because of the length and the severity of the injury, we've not really been giving him too many minutes. He's been on the bench in and around the squad, training with the squad, but he's not really been playing too much. So he's going to be like a new signing.
Are they both going to get in the team, Bill? Do you know what I mean? With Konza and Mings, you always big them up, man. How are they going to get?
I don't know. It's a healthy competition. Let's put it that way.
It's what you need, man. It's taking you to the next level, though, isn't it? In seriousness, Villa.
Yeah, big time. And it's July the 2nd now. Looks like we've got Pau Torres and Yuri Tielemans through the door already for a combined, let's say, 35 million with the Pau Torres add-ons. It's not bad business at all, is it really? And to add to that, to our current squad with that depth, is huge, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how we get on this season, because it's only really a backup goalkeeper, a second striker / winger, and a right back that we really need now, I think. They're the crucial positions. And we'd be really, really up there fighting, I think. I can't wait for the season to start. I can't wait for the lads to be back in pre-season, get things going. We've got a good few pre-season games coming up. We play Lazio, we play Valencia. We've got the Conference League playoffs as well to get through before we even get through to the group stage. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait.
So can I just ask you a question? Can I just ask you a question there on Tielemans? And this applies to Mason Mount as well for me. These two lads that have moved clubs off the back of really poor seasons, respectively, in terms of what they're capable of. And Tielemans has been accused of downing tools and not working hard enough for the side. Villa now are a really hard-working side under Emery. They all know what their jobs are. They work really hard for each other. The effort and the endeavour is there. My concern for both of those two, I'm interested to know what you think about Tielemans, is how do you sort of reinvent yourself off the back of two dreadful seasons? We've seen this so many times with footballers. What Mason Mount was, he might be again. What Yuri Tielemans was, he might be again. But in Tielemans' case, he doesn't show the work rate that Villa want, that Villa do, McGinn does, and the other guys in midfield get through. What are your thoughts on that? Because he hasn't had a great season last season, has he?
No, he hasn't. And what I would say to that is I'm putting my trust in Unai Emery to get the best out of the player. And I don't believe that Unai Emery would sign a player if he wasn't certain that he'd be able to get the best out of him. And, we're a very possession-based squad. So there's been a lot of talk about people thinking that he's out of shape, that he's lost his legs a bit, which maybe he has slightly. I don't think he's out of shape. I saw the video of him doing his medical and he looked a bit shredded, to be honest with you. I wish I was that out of shape. But yeah, maybe he's lost his legs slightly. But we're a possession-based side. We want players who can ping the ball about. And I think that's what Yuri Tielemans does brilliantly. And I can only trust Unai Emery. The one signing that he's brought in, the one key signing that he's brought in so far, aside from these two, was Alex Moreno, and he looks fantastic at left back. So
he was class, man.
If things continue like that with incomings, then we've got two very, very good players signed up, which I think we do have anyway.
You might get another Janilla moment. Do you remember when he stripped off and gave it Gregory? You might get Tielemans doing that, mate.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add on that point though as well, is that I hear what Steve's saying about sort of like downing tools, but you've also got to realise that Leicester City were just a fucking joke last year. You had Brendan Rodgers coming out saying that the team wasn't good enough or whatever he come out saying. They then didn't sack him when they should have sacked him. They then brought in that clown manager who didn't inspire no one. So, I get that players should always give 100% and die on the pitch for the fans and for the badge. But it must have been difficult for the players when they had a manager who didn't really care, a board that didn't know what they were doing. So. I don't know. I think is he going to go straight into the team anyway? Your midfield is pretty decent.
Not in my opinion. Not with the way that we ended the season. I think so. Tielemans is competing with Douglas Luiz for his position, and the way that Douglas Luiz has been playing football recently is just on another level. And yeah, at the minute he doesn't start. So to have that competition, to have someone like Yuri Tielemans pushing Douglas Luiz, and having Douglas Luiz pushing Yuri Tielemans, it's only going to do good things in my opinion.
Don't let little Dan hear you say that, mate. Don't let little Dan hear you say that.
Little Dan needs to focus on Nathan Collins going to Brentford.
I think Tielemans is coming in purely to be a European player for now. I look at that deal, and it's a win-win. You're getting a player that's still got potential. What is he? 26 years old. He's still relatively young. But what you're doing is you're getting him on minimal finances. You might be paying him a little bit of upfront payment to get him through the door, but it wouldn't be nothing near what you would pay in the transfer fee. So I think it's a win-win in that perspective. And I think the best way to build him up is by playing him in Europe to begin with, getting him playing week in, week out in European competition, and then he works his way back into the team. But for me, it was a surprise, I'm not going to lie, that he went to Villa, because he'd bigged up for 2 years that he wanted Champions League football and he wanted to play in the elite competitions, and to then all of a sudden end up at Villa, it almost told me his drop off, because Dan Potts, I know that you boys were in with him for quite a while. I know we kind of looked at him as well earlier on in the season, but he still always maintained he wanted Champions League football. So it'd be interesting to see how motivated and how hard he does work. Knowing that obviously he's playing conference football next season and not the Champions League that he wanted. But Pau Torres, he's a problem.
Yeah, that's a good sign, and Emery knows him well. Like on Tielemans, quickly, like I spoke to Grizz about this. Like must have been last year, maybe a year before even, and we were sort of saying he looks for 65 minutes like a top talent. Then his legs go a bit, and I wondered what that would be like for an Aston Villa side. Having said that, I think, like you say, Bill, you've got Kamara, you've got John McGinn, who's been brilliant under Emery in his defence, Douglas Luiz. You've got players there, so I think he's just going to add to strength and depth. And I think that he will get his place in the first team, because I do believe Yuri Tielemans is good enough. But I wanted to ask you, Bill, like, would you go all out for this Conference Cup and just like not sacrifice the league in terms of don't care where we come, but like surely a trophy for you right now is massively important. And Emery and European trophies, we bantered Lawless all year about this trophy, but let's be real, Emery knows how to win a trophy when it comes to European football. So you must be like quietly confident, right?
Yeah, I think it's all about having a squad that can compete for all competitions that they're playing in. And I suppose this is why we're bringing in the likes of Yuri Tielemans and Pau Torres. So we've got top quality players coming in and playing in those European games and FA Cup, League Cup games as well. It all depends on how the season's going, really, as to whether we sacrifice, if you want to call it that, the league, for whether it be the Conference League, FA Cup, League Cup, whatever. We as a Villa fan, I just want to see us win a trophy, whatever it is. I'm not fussy. I just want to see us win a trophy.
Billy, remember though, you could play your C team and you can probably get to the quarterfinals without even putting out half your. No, I mean, not being disrespectful to the other teams in the competition, but that is just the truth. Like Villa now have, as we've just spoke about for the last 5 minutes, a very good squad. Like they don't have to play their best team. It's only when you get to sort of, I don't know when the dates are, February, March, when they get into sort of the quarterfinals, where they might have to start thinking about it. But like Villa should piss the groups. Villa should get out the last 32, maybe even the last 16, and then they can start making moves.
Yeah.
You got a great chance, Bill. You got a great chance of winning that thing. I can't lie. West Ham,
I think we do.
If West Ham
exactly.
can
West
win
Ham
it,
can do it.
you can do it. Trust me.
That's what I'd like to think anyway. That's what I'd like to think. But I don't want to get too overly confident and do a Lawless and we're going to win it. And then come May next year, it all come back in my face and have one of those 5-minute compilations.
He backed it up, really. He backed it up.
Yeah, but look at the stick he'd have got if he didn't, though.
It's worth it, man. Stick your neck out. I mean, look at the state of Palace. They were supposed to be getting Potter. They've ended up with Roy Hodgson again. What's going on here, Julie?
What's going on? Well, why? I mean, what's going on?
You actually,
what's going on with the championship?
You actually deserve that from Joe, man, because that's cruel what you put in the private chat, man. I can't even lie. You deserve you deserve absolutely everything comes to you for that, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
No. The only reason I put it is because I remember when we beat Leeds. I'll never forget that. And Joe said Palace are nothing. And Joe was giving it all. So it's just friendly banter. That's all.
It's all good.
Listen, people, do us a favor, man. There's over 600 of you on there. I'm about 30 away from the 10k target, man. I need to get this tonight, people. Come on, let's do this. Let's get us up to 10k. I'm sure you can all do that now. Smash a like.
Can I ask you a quick question, bro?
Of course you can, Joe. Go for it, my friend.
I'm not digging you out over the Havertz deal. That's been done to death, right?
Mm-hmm,
but what I am really surprised at, because it sort of blew my mind, that they've made him the highest paid player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the
Well,
like? I just
that's the
don't understand
rumor.
when you.
That's the rumor. I don't know if it's been confirmed. They're talking about this being like 300 plus now. I heard it was 220. They're talking about it being 300 plus. This is a signing, and I'll tell you this now. This is me being serious. This isn't me bantering. This has to work.
Yeah.
This has to work, man. This
Because
cannot go wrong.
It's raised the wage for the rest of the players coming in the door now, and those that have been there a while will be saying, "Well, if Havertz is getting that, I want that." I just think it's wild to bring to bring him in, but then to pay him the top dollars, wild. I think
it's why I was against Nelson and Eddie being put on 100K a week, because anybody that comes now goes, okay, they're on 100, so I want 200 to start. And I'm now seeing Havertz on 300. I'll take 350, please. Otherwise, I'm just not interested in coming to your club. Because unfortunately, players are like that.
Eddie on 100K a week.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. What the hell?
Imagine paying all that just to come second to City every single year. I mean,
we've been linked with
Nelson
on a free. We've been linked with him on a free. Flipping out, paying him a week.
Yeah. I mean, I need to get this confirmed, by the way.
Chips is on 120. He's on 120.
Oh no, the Nelson and Eddie things are that's definite. They're on 100. But I need to get this confirmed about Havertz, because I don't know it's for sure. A lot of people are saying it's 220, which I believed it was. There's rumors that it's not that, and it's going up to 300 odd. But for me, that is an absolute madness for me. I mean, this guy's done nothing at all yet in the Premier League to prove he's been a good signing.
It will, because he's been playing up front and he's not a centre forward, is he? He played in the 10 role at Leverkusen before he signed. I think it was Leverkusen before he signed. Playing him on that left-hand side where Xhaka played, he's going to see loads of the ball. You've got to keep him interested. That's my view on him. If you don't keep him interested, he drifts out of games and he switches off, and then he becomes a bit of a non-entity and he doesn't affect the game. I think if you give him loads of the ball, he's technically gifted. He's good in the air. He's surprisingly quick. He's very skillful. I think Arteta's seen something there that you can get out of him on that left side of midfield role for you. I genuinely, he's a good player, and I think you'll get a tune out of him.
Is that where he plays then? Is that left number 8?
Well, that's where he's
going to play.
Yeah, that's where I think he's going to play. And then at Leverkusen, he was playing more as a 10, attacking 8, and he got like 17 goals. Since he's come to Chelsea, he's been on the right, on the left, up top, false 9, number 10, attacking 8. It's like, can this guy actually get a position? Now, in my opinion, he hasn't been able to hold down any of those positions. That's my biggest concern. But actually, for whatever reason, Mikel Arteta has seen something in him and believes it. Now, he's paid at a combined 100 million now for Fabio Vieira and Kai Havertz. Fabio Vieira doesn't quite look at it for me. I know it's harsh. Maybe he's young. Maybe he needs another year. If this Havertz one don't work, man, wow, it's serious pressure. It's got to work, man, and I hope it does. I really hope it does. But it's interesting you say that, Steve, because I spoke to a lot of Liverpool fans, and they seem to like Kai Havertz. A lot of Liverpool fans I speak to, there's 4 Liverpool fans that said this is a great signing in it, and I'm like, I don't know that it is, and they're like, really? I would take him tomorrow at Liverpool. I think
he's always played well against us. He's technically very good. He's a size as well. He knows how to look after a ball. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how good he is in there. And go back to the point I made before, and you were right. He hasn't held those positions down because Chelsea don't know what they're doing. They were playing Raheem Sterling as a wing back. So what can you do when your manager's doing that? Keep him involved in the game. Give him loads of the ball. Show him loads of love. Make him feel like a superstar. And I think you'll see what Arteta's seen in him. He has definitely strengthened the squad. And with Rice, and you and I have spoken loads of times about Rice, haven't we, Dan?
Absolutely.
With Rice sitting in there as well, mate. Those two lads strengthen Arsenal considerably. And I think Kai Havertz, at the end of next season, the Chelsea fans will think, why didn't we do that with him?
Same with Mount as well, you know. I'm sick to the back teeth of hearing Man United fans slander Mason Mount before he's even walked in the door.
Agreed.
He's a top player. Like I think he is anyway. It was the same I'm hearing opposition fans on Rice with Arsenal slandering Rice. I don't know if it's because they're English that maybe they get a little bit more slack, because I hear people saying, oh, what we're doing, sign it. We could go and buy him from there. I don't know what it is. Maybe they just feel like they're overhyped by the media because they're English, so that they have to then counteract it and say they're dead footballers. But both like Man United. I think Chelsea. You know, what did he win? The Player of the Year, 3 years on the spin, and they're all. You know, I think that.
But that's different, right? Though, Joe. Look, but Mount is different. Mount has actually done it in the Premier League. Havertz, you can make the argument he's had.
No, I'm just saying though, when he was talking about Rice as well, though, about sorry, my bad, in Havertz. But
I think you're right. I think Mount gives a lot. I know what Mount is. I know what position he plays in. I know what he brings. He brings press. He brings work rate. Havertz, for me, I agree with what you're saying, Steve, but I do need to see it. Having said that, I'm also with what Joe says. You can't slander a player that has not wore your shirt yet. Like, you've got to give him a chance to actually wear your shirt and give it a go. Like, a lot of Arsenal fans did that with Ramsdale. Oh, what we spending 25 million on a guy who's been relegated twice for? Look how that turned out. Erdegaard, Tomiyasu, Ben White, 50 million. They're like, you're joking. You are crazy. All of those signings have been fair play. So I think we have to do that with players before you start to make massive judgment on it. But listen, Pete, I'm going to come to you, man, because I'm a little bit surprised. I'm going to tell you why. You went in for Maddison. You went in for Szoboszlai. Looks like they've chosen Tottenham and Liverpool. Did Newcastle back out? And if not, and you were going for them too, why did they not choose Newcastle?
The easy answer is that we never bid for any of them.
Okay.
And for me, that's the biggest surprise of it all, is that we didn't bid for either of them. Where we linked, yes, we had 2 bids for Maddison last summer. We apparently went back in with him again in January. But to be fair, a lot of the media, or certainly the journalists that I follow and the Loaded lads follow, had been saying from January onwards that it looked like he was going to go to Tottenham. It was only at the end of the season, because they fell out of Europe, that it talked up Newcastle. I would have took him. I think they're both super talented players. I've got, I really like Maddison. Would have loved him at Newcastle. Dominic Szoboszlai, Steve, you've got an outstanding talent there. Honestly, you really have. He's going to light up the Premier League because he's so good. But the reality for both players is that we didn't bid, but we did for Tonali, and we got him, and it was wrapped up within 24 hours. All we're waiting for now is the official release, which apparently is when he touches down in Newcastle this week. That's all I can say on it, really. Am I surprised that we didn't bid for either? Yeah, I am. And so are a lot of other Newcastle fans. And what has been a little bit of a concern from sections of the fan base to say, why are we letting these 2 players go to other clubs? We just hope that there's another plan in place. For all the talk of us going out spending loads and loads of money, there is talk coming back that we've got to be careful this summer, and that we can't spend as much as people are making out that we can spend. So maybe that's part of it. But honestly, nobody knows. Not even the journalists know who's coming in next for Newcastle. We've put bids in for Livramento. We're in talks with them. There's talks tonight that we're pressing forward with Khéphren Thuram, who Liverpool are also looking at as well. Terrific centre midfielder. Played tonight, although they got knocked out. France. He was very, very good again. So we've got people that we're eyeing up, but who we're kind of dead set on after the Maddison deal in particular was left to Tottenham. I have no idea.
Pete, just on that one. Pete, just on that one, mate. We had this with Brendan Rodgers at Liverpool. We wanted to sign Willian, so Brendan Rodgers got Steven Gerrard to text him. And the reason why he did that is because he didn't have the gravitas or the kudos to do it himself. Because worldwide footballers of a certain standard didn't recognise Brendan Rodgers as a football man, if you know what I mean. Eddie Howe's done a great job. There'll come a point in Newcastle's ceiling where Eddie Howe reaches the point where he can't take the club further, and they'll look for a world-class manager to come in. That's kind of, you can see that as in the project somewhere down the line, not next season or the season after, but at some point. In every one of us does work. We go to work, and there's a level you can get to, and then someone who's better at the job comes in and takes it on to the next level, and it carries on up the line till you get to the managing directors and people like that. With Eddie Howe, my understanding is Newcastle spoke to his entourage, and Szoboszlai said he preferred the Liverpool project, so that's why they didn't bid for him. That's my understanding of that conversation. Is there a concern amongst some Newcastle fans that when it comes to getting in touch with world-class players, Tonali's a great signing, by the way. He's a superb footballer. You love him. Is there a concern that Eddie Howe doesn't have the gravitas to pull in these players?
No, just for the answer that you just said, is that, yeah, we did get Dominic Szoboszlai, but we've got Sandro Tonali, who is an outstanding talent, one of the best talents in Serie A last season. And some of the greats in Italy have talked about him. Mancini, Ibrahimovic, Pirlo have all been waxing lyrical about him since this deal's been gone through. So, yes, we didn't get Szoboszlai, but look, you can go for any manager who's been turned down a player for whatever reason. Eddie Howe will be no different. I've talked about Eddie Howe on this channel many a time, and there's always been talk from other fans from other clubs and saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to need a world-class manager at some point." Blah 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 blah. How did these world-class managers become world-class managers? Is because people took chances on them, and people said, "You know what? We want you to be the guy that takes us forward." How did Klopp get so successful to then get his move to Liverpool? Is because he took Dortmund, who were getting smashed every year by Bayern Munich, and made a difference in that league and made people stand up and go, "Hey, look, he's a talented manager." And people then took a chance on him. So why can it not be that Eddie Howe can be that?
No, guy? It's not that he's not. It's more that it's unlikely.
Well, it may well be unlikely, but
that's the thing. It's not that he can't do it; he could do it, but it's unlikely. Like these managers that Steve was referencing when he's talking about world-class managers, they're rare. They're a rare breed. So Eddie Howe could do it, and I think everyone on the panel would be happy to see an English guy do that. But it's just that it's unlikely, and at some point, as it's unlikely, Newcastle will probably end up having to make that choice. But I think we all support that. Hopefully, Eddie Howe does well, because we want to see these English managers thrive and do well.
It wasn't a pop at Eddie Howe. I think he's done a tremendous job. I think he's done a tremendous job. But
we've had this conversation before on the channel, Steve, and I maintain the point. I was a massive Eddie Howe fan before he came to the club. I like what he's about. I like his work ethic. I like what he's trying to bring to Newcastle. And most importantly, they only see him as a long-term project. They'd see him long-term as the manager at this club, and they're willing to be patient with him in order for him to bring the success. And,
yeah, they'll say that.
The point that LB said is that I would love nothing more than him to be that first English manager to raise the Premier League at some point down the line. And look, if it doesn't happen and he isn't the guy, and we do move on, then we can look at it at that point.
For me, Pete, it sort of depends on like what the expectations of the board and how long is their sort of vision. You know what I mean? Because for me, in my view, yeah, Newcastle challenging for the league, I still think like, even though obviously the amount of money you've got, I still think it's like probably a 3-year project. I mean, look at Arsenal, how long it's taken them. You're also dealing with coaches like Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. I think it is like a long-term, if the board start thinking, no, we think we could challenge next year, then that's obviously where maybe that decision will be made. But hopefully they do give him time, as you've said. They've said they're going to give him time. It's just, obviously they're going to say that. They're not going to come out and say, he's not got time. But just hopefully they've got a realistic plan in place, which is why I go back to the start of this conversation, Pete. And I think you're spot on with the expectations, is to get back into the Champions League again this season. I think, try and get out the group stage would be very good, because we struggled with that for a number of years, and then just sort of kick on from there. But it's just about putting that plan in place and sticking to it. I think like signing squad builders like who is it? Did you say Livramento or someone like that? You said he was in
from Southampton.
Them type of players to build your squad out, because you're in the Champions League. I think you'll obviously want to go.
Hello.
Hello.
LB's
it was going well. It was going well. He was nearly there, then he bottled it.
Yeah, I knew what he was going to say. I knew what he was going to say, and he's right. We are part of that building process. The one thing I will say is that we're not going. And I keep
look at his face.
I've said this to you before. we are not going to be like Chelsea. We're not going to be like Man City. The reason being is FFP will not allow it to happen. It won't allow it to happen. There are too many stops in place for Newcastle to be able to do what Man City did. When Man City were in their second or third year, they were signing Carlos Tevez and Adebayor level signings, buying 2, 3, 4 of them in one window. We're not going to be able to do that because FFP is going to stop us in our tracks. Have we got the money to go out there and buy these top level players? Of course we have. We've got money to go out and pay for anybody. We genuinely have, but we have to fit within a system that works. We have to fit within the criteria of FFP. And so we know that it's not going to be a 2-3 year before we go and win the league. It might take a little bit longer. And the owners, although they would want that tomorrow, they know that it's going to be a process. And Newcastle fans are we're aware of this. We're aware of what we're working with. We're just happy that we've got new owners that are ambitious, that want to do the best for the club and the city. And we've got a manager that wants to take us as far as he possibly can. And only until that point where he does move on, whenever that may be, is when we'll look at who comes next.
Do you know, just to jump in, sorry, you don't mind, do you, Dan? Just
go for it, Joe.
No, just on Eddie Howe. I think initially when they brought him in, where they were in the league, they probably had that idea of this plan. But seeing how quick he turned it around, let's not forget they were in a relegation dogfight to then be getting top 4. I think they've gone, no, I think we're going to be all right here. I think they've bought really, really well. Dan Ashworth and Nick Hammond before him, I think they've done a great job. And like, I don't think it's that bold to say they were the group stage in the Champions League. So I just think St. James's Park on European nights will have a Liverpool, Anfield kind of vibe to it. I don't totally see many teams.
Horrible place to go to, man.
Yeah, on a night, on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, going to Newcastle, the crowd pumps up. I don't see many teams winning there, if I'm honest, European teams, apart from the elite. So I think they'll get through the group stage at a canter, if I'm being totally honest. And that might be bold, but I think they will.
Man,
I
totally
said about Man City,
it depends on the group.
What's the same said about Man City? No disrespect to Man City. They're not carrying the same gravitas.
No, I get that. Not necessarily the atmosphere, but the players that they had at the time.
No, I'm on about the atmosphere though, Bill. I think it'll be a totally different kettle of fish. Then you throw in the likes of Dan Burn and all that sort of. I just think it'll be different gravy. To be honest,
I do think Newcastle's atmosphere will be an advantage, but I don't think the atmosphere will get them out of the group. I don't think it was going to be.
But like I'm telling you right now,
some of these top European teams, they play with good atmospheres already. So it's not like they're going to come to Newcastle and being for a shock. So I think for Newcastle, it really depends on what teams are going to be.
This isn't Selhurst Park, D, we're talking about, mate. This is
this ain't going to be Ellen Road with like 8,000 capacity in the Championship when they're playing Huddersfield on a Tuesday night.
That's
it's
not
going to
true,
be a bit different to that. Yeah,
let's be real. That's not true.
We're talking about
you've got bigger crowds than you whilst in League One, mate. You know what I mean?
All right. You're twerking for Patrick Vieira. And you still couldn't get him as well. Just remember that as well. You're talking about next. But yeah, I think next year Newcastle. I don't know about you, what you think about it, Pete, but I don't think there should be any major expectations for next season in terms of what they want. If you get out of the group, that'd be good. But even if you somehow manage to drop to like Europa League, I think that'd be decent as well. You don't want to get too far carried away because even going into the season, no one really expected you lot to finish in the top 4. So I think the expectations have increase suddenly as due to what you've done last season, but you don't want to get too carried away as well. Ideally, you want to be in some type of European football. You don't want to finish last. You want to be in some type of European football, but even if it's not the Champions League, past the group stages, then I think that will still be decent for Newcastle whilst they're building this project. Like, you don't want to get carried away and say, oh, we didn't come out of the group, that's it, like that was a failure. Like Newcastle, I mean, a few years ago, not only a few years ago, like 2 seasons ago, was fighting relegation, and you've over-exceeded expectation last season. So you want to do as well as possible. But even if you drop down to Europa League, I think that'll still probably be a success.
There is going to be an expectation, though, DM. I've spoken to Pete about this, that Newcastle want to play with the big boys. They're going to start being like judged with the big boys. That's going to happen very soon. It's going to happen soon, though.
Yeah, it's gonna happen soon. But then they're already, but by the signings that they're trying to do this summer, anyways, we can see that they're trying to reach that level. But it's not going to happen this summer. Like, that's not realistic. They're trying to be that team, but being that team itself is going to take a few years to build. Like, it's not going to happen instantly. And I think what they done last year was over-exceed expectations by going into the top 4. I think last season, if Newcastle went into Europa League football, Conference League football, I think that would have been an improvement. And I think Newcastle fans would have been happy with that going into the season. So you don't also want to get carried away and think Newcastle are already there and they should be coming out of the group. Newcastle, there's a very good chance they do come out of the group with the good recruitments that they're making this summer. But even if they don't, I don't think that will be the end all. Ideally, they want to have a solid season, push for top 4 next season, but, you know, play some type of European football. If that's Europa League, that's still not bad. They're doing well. They're in a good projection. So, yeah, I honestly don't think there should be that high of expectation, especially in Europe anyways, of Newcastle, you know, trying to get far, because it's not easy.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're just happy to let all you guys talk amongst yourselves, argue amongst yourselves. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, all you big boys, do what you normally do. You get angry with each other. And we just kind of just what we did last season and just kind of just float along, minding our own business. It was only really until the kind of back end of the season when Errol started getting excited about Liverpool.
Yeah, that's not going to happen though this year, though, Pete.
It became a talking point, but we're quite happy to kind of just go about our business. You guys do what you need to do.
Nah,
Errol
we'll be on you for match day
so
one, mate.
excited, man. Errol, I've never seen Errol. The whole season, Errol was like, don't care about this season. It's done. Like, next season, that's all that matters. And then, like, 5 games left, he's like, come on, Pete, let's have your son. Proper going, son. I was like, Errol, calm down, man. It's still not going to work for you, bro. But now, big up, Errol, man. Listen, I want to ask LB a question because a lot of people are sleeping on Arsenal and they believe it's a fluke of a season. I want to ask if that's real. I want to ask why people think that. Have Arsenal not got in quite quickly with Timber, Rice, Havertz, and got their business done? Apparently, we're not done. We're looking for more. Is it foolish to just think, well, Arsenal ain't going to be there. They're going to be top 4. It's all about Liverpool and United for me. It's all about Newcastle. So a lot of Man City fans seem to be thinking that. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm biased and I'm an Arsenal fan. I think we'll be all right, man.
All right, and what? So challenging
I
for
think
the
we'll be
title?
up there again. Yeah, I think we'll be up there.
I think you probably will be up there, but I think Liverpool will be above you.
Why? Just tell me why, though. Just tell me why.
Why? Because Liverpool, man, Liverpool are different under Klopp. And last year, they had a massive issue with that midfield. It looks like they're sorting it out. So all I'm thinking is Liverpool are coming back. Now, I get Steve saying they're going to change the way they're playing and whatever. I just still think Liverpool next year, you know what I mean, not in the Champions League, they're going to go all out for the Premier League. I just think they're going to be back, man. You know what I mean? I think they are. And I think you've got to now cope with the Champions League, which you didn't have last year. You know what I mean? Look at the Europa League. Odegaard played, I think, 2 games. That's not going to happen. I think I've spoke to you about this before when we played you in the Carabao Cup. If that happens again, he's not going to get away with playing a rotated side because Arsenal fans want silver. I think this year, although you are increasing your squad a little bit, it's going to be pushed more. It's going to be pushed harder. And I just think that ultimately, I've got like, where's my respect going here? I have some respect. Do it go to Arsenal, who bottled the top 4 and then bottled the league last year, or does it go to Liverpool, who have been one of the best sides we've seen and have got a better manager? It's got to go to Liverpool on a purely respect basis. I think Arsenal will be up there, I do. But when people ask me who's going to challenge us more, Liverpool or Arsenal, I think right now, the way that Liverpool are moving with these signings, I got to go Liverpool. And it goes back to what we said at the start of the stream. They only need Salah to start playing at 80% of his worth. Get Diaz back into the team, and boom, they're firing. Salah was off last year. He wasn't properly like, you know what I mean? He was in and out of form. He picked up a little bit of form, then dipped for a bit. Get him firing 80%. Get Diaz back into that team. And I just think they're going to be our main threats. But Arsenal fans don't like hearing that. But it's completely logical. And, you know, like I say,
do you know what? Do you know why you're wrong with some Arsenal fans? I like hearing that. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that. I don't want Arsenal going to win the league. Write us off like he did this year. We went to a title race when we were supposed to scrape top 4. We like all that. And that's for me anyway. I always expect us to do better. But when everyone says Arsenal, let's forget them. It's all about Liverpool. Then let's keep the pressure on Liverpool and Klopp. Because we liked that last time. Let's do that again, man. Because for me, if no one's looking at us, we can just creep up again without everyone looking at us.
But there is pressure on you. There is pressure on you.
I think there is, D, but apparently according to the fans, though, D, there's not. Arsenal were not going to do it this year.
No. There is 100% pressure on you next year. There is 100%.
I think so, but why are the fans not saying that then? No, why are the fans not saying Arsenal got to win the league?
Well, that's us. That's our discussion. But stepping back and look at it as a whole, any other fan, they're going to look at Arsenal last year. They were fighting for the league title with City. So there's going to be that natural pressure. You have to do. And I think Arsenal fans are going to apply the pressure to the club as well. And they should do. But we're talking about realistically, who do we think is going to challenge Man City next year? And I agree with LB. I think Liverpool, their main problem was the midfield. They're getting that sorted right now. They've got players that have, competed at the top level in the Premier League and, that have challenged City to the end. And I think if them players step up to the plate, as well as improvement to midfield, I think they're going to be there, rightly so. But that pressure is still going to be on Arsenal because of what you've done this year. Arsenal have bought it in the previous 2 seasons for whatever, reasons. One top 4, won the league title. Arsenal this year needs to win something. Arteta needs to win something. This process,
I agree with that.
Put around too much, and that pressure is naturally going to be there because the only thing that Arteta's really done is the FA Cup. That's the legacy and fighting City to second. There has been improvements in league position finishes, but in terms of silverware, there hasn't been like a major improvement. We haven't seen Arsenal actually go to the finish line and win the race. Arsenal have been in the race; they've been close to actually winning it, but they haven't won it. So next year, Arsenal need to win something. And it has to be bigger than the FA Cup. That you have to do one Champions League and go all the way, which I don't see.
And D, I don't disagree with anything you've just said. But all I'll say is nobody can tell me at the moment and give enough evidence. So for me personally, I think Arsenal will challenge again for the title. I'm not saying we're going to go win it. I'm not saying we're going to go win a trophy. We need to win a trophy and we need to challenge. That's the bare minimum of my expectation. I just don't see enough evidence at the moment to go, don't really get what that Rice signing is all about. That's not going to do them any favours. Liverpool are back with that Szoboszlai. That's them done. No. They're up there. But I don't really see the evidence yet. And I think a lot of people are saying, Arsenal ain't going to be nothing. But look at Liverpool. We're signing McAllister and Szoboszlai. For me, I look at that and I think, well, there's still no defence there and there's still no improvement in their central midfield. They've got to do a lot more for me to start saying Liverpool back. Man United, everyone goes, they'll be back. They don't even have a centre forward. They don't have a midfield yet, in my opinion. There's a lot that Arsenal have done that all of a sudden people are now looking.
I'm done.
Okay, but you don't have the number 9.
I don't know. Listen, and this is coming from me, by the way, who actually has a lot of doubt about what's going on at Arsenal. Yeah, I'm apparently a negative fan and I'm toxic. But a lot of people, I don't really get this. No one can give me enough evidence for me to go, fair one. Yeah, Arsenal are well behind United and Liverpool at the moment. Newcastle flying ahead of us. I don't see Arsenal competing. Nobody can give me enough evidence to suggest that's the right thing. So I'm asking you as a panel, tell me why Arsenal can't be challenging and going for it ahead of the
No one said that.
You'll be challenging.
No one said that. People are saying that you're going to challenge, but like when someone says to like me or says who's going to be the main challenger, because obviously the title is who look like challenging Man City, I would say the main challenger, in my opinion, is Liverpool. And Liverpool finished the season very strongly. I think I think Steve, was it like they won 10 out of the last 12 games? I know they drew the last 2, but they finished very strongly.
13 unbeaten. And I think that, Dan, I accept your point that there's the lack of evidence.
That's not a dig at Liverpool, Steve, because I agree. I think you will be back, but I just don't get this. Everyone's sleeping on Arsenal stuff. That's all it is.
No. Listen, Arsenal will be there and thereabouts. They've strengthened. I think you look at the big difference for me is that. Outside of Gabriel Jesus through the middle, you might struggle to fulfil all your fixtures and score goals. So if you look at what Liverpool's options have got, Salah, Gakpo, Nunez, Jota and Diaz. That's 5 guys that you can call as of a certain level. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best or they're world class. Mo Salah is world class, we know that. Gabriel Jesus was a great signing for Arsenal and was brilliant before his injury and good again when he came back. But there's going to be weeks when you're going to play Tuesday, Saturday, and then FA Cup comes in and stuff like that comes in. And you're going to ask some of your players, if you have big seasons, to go 50, 60 games into a season like we've done before. You look at the Manchester City situation. They've lost a couple of key players. I just read before we came on that they've been offered £80 million for Bernardo Silva from the Saudi side, but they've offered him something like £900 million or some crazy obscene amount of money to go and play there. So if he decides to do that, and he's had itchy feet for a couple of years. Sadio Mane has to leave Liverpool twice before on the 3rd attempt they let him go. Bernardo Silva's been talking about leaving Manchester City for 2 years. They just might take the £80 million. Is Mateo Kovacic a good enough replacement for Ilkay Gundogan? Only time will tell. Who do they then buy to replace Bernardo Silva? Or do they put Phil Foden in the middle, which a lot of people thought they might do? There's loads of variables that are untested and untried, so I'll take your point, Dan. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Liverpool have got a God-given right to challenge Manchester City. It's going to be really hard to challenge Manchester City. All Arsenal have done is strengthen their squad. All Liverpool done is strengthen their squad. Don't play too much on the fact that Liverpool struggle defensively. When you've got no midfield and you've got runners from midfield and you've got sensible, clever number 9s pulling your centre-back in Virgil van Dijk out of position, they're going to score goals against you. When your back's against the wall and you're losing games away from home to Brighton 3-0 and you're getting absolutely slaughtered by the press, heads go down. Even the likes of Virgil van Dijk feel the pressure. Put a functioning midfield in front of him. You don't get the runners through that midfield. You don't get the pressure. He can deal with his man one-on-one. We may well go out and sign another centre-back to help bridge that gap, because you're quite right. You shouldn't be asking Van Dijk to play 40 games a season or 50 games a season off the back of a horrendous knee injury, which, quite frankly, nobody knows how he feels about physically having had that. And ask him and Canate to split that between them. You can't do it. So the evidence isn't there. The signs for Liverpool look really good. The change in style makes it tough for Liverpool to do that before the season starts. They're back on the 8th of July. They play their first friendly on the 19th. That's 11 days to try and gel things. That's tough. Liverpool will improve. Arsenal will improve. But I still think they've both got a way to go to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with Manchester City and challenge.
Yeah, and there's no doubt in that for me. Joe, I'm going to let you come in next because I know you wanted to chip in, but there's no doubt in the fact that Man City are top and it's going to be ridiculously hard for us all to challenge. And I actually do think that there could be a possibility that Arsenal would struggle in certain potentials. I just want to hear the reasons as to why, and I'm not hearing much at the moment from people. They're just saying it's just not going to happen because you've got Champions League. So I need to see more, man. Go on, Joe. Go on, bro.
No, I just think there's been we spoke about it before, Dan. I'm just hearing like I've even heard Arsenal fans say that Thomas Partey's better than Declan Rice. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I think there's been a lot of disrespect. I think Declan Rice will elevate Arsenal to another level. I think he's that good of a player. I don't think that's that wild of a take. City don't come in for a player if he's bad. He's carried West Ham at times. Look, like you've said, Arsenal, the fan base, I don't want to be disrespectful, but they all just sniffed it, like you've mentioned before, White, Ramsdale, and now, they're eating out the palm of the hands. And I think he's better than Caicedo. I think he'll take them to another level, mate. I do. I'm not sure on the Havertz one, but I think, Steve, made some amazing points and articulated it well. But it's going to be interesting to see, isn't it, how quick Liverpool can gel this new style, first and foremost. If they get off to a flyer, and LB was bang on the Salah chat, he's lethal, isn't he? But I just think the experience as well, it's so, they bottled top 4, they're then in a title race. Yeah, they bottled it in the end, but still it's that experience. It's still got that young squad. I just think Saka, again, will just be class again. He probably needs some help, because he got beasted last season. So I don't know if they're going to look to address that, mate. I don't know. But yeah, I really like Arsenal, though. I like Arteta. So I just think Declan Rice is different gravy. Rodri aside, I don't think there's many better than him in that position in the league. And I just think he'll look even better next season in a better side. So watch this space on Rice. I think we all know anyway. I've just heard a lot of mad takes that he's just not all that, when I think he is all that, and people will see that in a better side, in a top 6 side, and then people will be going, "Oh, he's phenomenal." And it's like, I remember what you, but anyway.
Yeah, but that's how it goes, though.
It's the money.
Declan Rice ain't better than Partey until Declan Rice becomes an Arsenal player. Then afterwards, Declan Rice gets a praise. That's how it goes, and that's the one thing with Arsenal fans at times, is that they love their club, their bits, just like we all do, but sometimes they just get stuck in their bubble in terms of praising certain players and not realizing how quality other players are as well. I think Declan Rice is a quality signing, but the main thing for me with the Arsenal signing is Havertz. How can Havertz improve this Arsenal side? Is he going to get goals and assists? How many goals and assists can he contribute to? Because right now, there's so many question marks about what role he's going to play. We're even talking about his wages, his fee, and all of that. There's a lot of pressure on him. If Havertz can improve Arsenal, then if you can get more goals and assists there, I expect, look, regardless of what happens with Havertz, I expect Arsenal to challenge next year. I don't think Arsenal's going to drop off and be all of a sudden become 8th or crazy like that. I think it would be ridiculous to say that, because what has really changed with Arsenal? They're only improving the squad. You can make the argument that maybe they're not improving as much. Maybe they're improving more. That's debatable, but I think they're improving the squad. The main thing with Arsenal is how much we know what Declan Rice can offer. I think Declan Rice is the one that we know what he's going to do to Arsenal and how he's going to improve them. But there's a few signings. I think Timber's a very underrated signing as well, because he can play both right back and centre back. And as you've seen with the left back position with Zivchenko at times, like inverting in, I think he can do that down the right hand side. So that offers a bit more flexibility there. I think, look, the league is going to be stronger next year. I think that's the one thing this year where the Chelsea's and Liverpool's dropped off. I don't know about Chelsea. I'll be honest. Chelsea are a dodgy club, but I think they'll improve under Poch. I don't think they'll be as bad. But the main thing is Liverpool are solving their problems. And I think they're going to be challenging a bit more. So it's a question of, can Arsenal hack the pressure when other clubs are behind them and challenging them more? Because this year, it was Arsenal and City. But next year, if you add Liverpool to that equation and other teams to that equation, can Arsenal still hold it their own and fight for the title? That's one thing that we're going to answer next year, because in the past, Arsenal have bottled the stuff that they should have achieved. That's happened.
What's a gammon clown?
I don't know, bro. I think that's Northern.
What's a gammon clown? Like, I've been called a gammon clown. Like Rice's Maguire 2.0, Xhaka for shite replacement. Honestly, like, some of the disrespect for him in the chat is mental. And you'll see, won't you? Like, what even is a gammon clown? I don't even know.
I think it's a Northern thing. No, it's in Grimsby.
I can't even see it. Do you know what? Do you know the football is special? Because players around them and people who've worked with them come out and tell you how good they are. And if you listen to people who've been in and around West Ham, former players, the Mark Nobles of this world, and people like that, people who've been connected with the football club, have said when he came into the team as a 17, 18-year-old, he was just different. And all the guys that go on to be special centre midfielders, that's the same thing that happens with all of those guys. Your Lampards, your Scholes, your Gerrards, and all of those guys. Anyone who's ever worked with them will just tell you they're just different. Same with De Bruyne. They're just different. They just see football differently. And that's the noises that's being made about Declan Rice. The disrespect that you're quite right, Joe, the disrespect he gets, absolutely insane. He is a top quality footballer who will only get better working in a better team with better players.
Let's hope so, man. I really hope so. Billy, what's your thoughts, man? Who's going to challenge Man City for you, bruv?
The only thing I would say is Liverpool have the history of competing with Man City. They've done it before. They've been there, done that. I think people look at last season as a bit of an anomaly season for both teams. You know, Arsenal going on and becoming title contenders. People will probably see that as, they'll probably just drop off and become top 4 fodder again. Liverpool, however, you know, they've already brought in McAllister, Szoboszlai. They're going to push on now. They're going to get back to where they used to be. This was a season where it was just out of the ordinary. I think that's how some people are looking at it. And the historical value of Liverpool doing it previously is what I'm looking at as well. You know, they've been there, they've done that. They know what it takes to compete with Man City. Arsenal do, but only for one season. You know, Liverpool have been doing it for 4, 5, 6, however many seasons it's been. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And that is why I would say that Liverpool are probably closer contenders to challenge for the title than Arsenal with Man City. But yeah, it is close. Both teams are bolstering their squads with quality players. It's just going to be an entertaining season to see how all of our teams get on, really, aside from Joe, who's in the Championship. To be said, it was on a plate. I had to take it, didn't I? It was there.
Look at Villa flexing now. Look at
them. I'm in the race for Europe show, mate.
I love it.
You are,
mate.
man.
I love it.
You are. Listen, we're gonna come to a close, but I'm gonna go.
Can I just ask though? Do you know?
Go on, Joe.
Big up Lee in the chat. I just wanted to get people's opinion because he said Rice is class, but if it's him and Shai Havertz instead of Xhaka and Partey, then we're worse off. Do you agree with that, Dan? Like as an Arsenal fan, do you think we're worse off? Yeah,
I do. If that's the case, obviously Xhaka and Partey is still here at the moment. I think Rice and Havertz is not an upgrade on Partey and Xhaka. And we would need more. There's a lot of links that we're going to go for more. And
Lavia's been linked, Tanny, this evening.
Lavia, but he's also been linked with Liverpool as well. Liverpool as well, yeah. So it depends where Lavia's head's at. I do like the player. I do think he's good. But again, I don't see Lavia as a Partey replacement. I don't see Havertz as a Xhaka replacement in terms of an upgrade. So the midfield needs a lot of work, and there's still a long way to go in there. But right now, no, I think Xhaka and Partey is actually better than Rice and Havertz, in my opinion. But it could go wrong. And the thing is, Joe, like I said earlier, you've got to watch him in an Arsenal shirt first. It might just go boom, and you're like, "What? No one saw this happen."
Maybe this Bergkamp propaganda might come true, bro.
Don't even start with that.
You know, with Arsenal, can you make that argument?
Man.
We're talking about starting 11, right? We're talking about if Xhaka and Partey leave and these players come. But I still don't think your depth is being improved on. Maybe you guys do it later on, but that's one area that you need to desperately improve on.
Centre forward, centre midfield, right winger as well. Because like Joe said earlier,
Saka, like you lot ran him to ground last season. That was crazy.
There's a lot of work to do, man. There's a lot more to go. Like we got 3 in, we need another 3. So I understand where people's concerns are. But yeah, for me, like Xhaka and Partey, I think people have slept on how pivotal they were for us this season. Like, honestly, they were so good. It was mad. Like, to put us in a title race with that trio with Ødegaard in there, if we're now going to have those two gone and we're going to replace them with those players, for me right now, I do worry. Because let's say, we get Rice and Havertz and Xhaka and Partey go. Rice goes in on his first game really hard and goes, oh, hell, red card, 3 games out. Jorginho goes back into the side.
Or gets injured.
We're back to square one.
The depth ain't
so
there,
we need depth, man. We ain't done yet. I like the start. It's a good start. It's got to keep going. There's pressure, and you're right. You guys are right in terms of the pressure on the manager, the ownership. There's pressure. 100% there's pressure, because if we're spending the amount of money that we're spending and rumored to be spending, we're going to be getting closer and closer to £1 billion being spent under Mikel Arteta's reign. He has to win a trophy. He just has to. You can't not win a trophy and spend that much money, in my opinion, anyway. A lot of people will say, oh, look at how much he's done and look at how great it is around the place. 100%, he deserves his flowers for that. Off the pitch, fantastic work. I'm more interested in what's happening on the pitch and where the trophies are at. So, yeah. And, Joe, that Bergkamp comparison, let's just not even... Has anybody watched Dennis Bergkamp, by the way? Has anybody watched Dennis Bergkamp and Kai Havertz? So can we please just... That is just absolute imbeciles that are talking like that. Sorry, D, go on, bro.
What trophy would you be happy with? When we talk about trophy, let's make it clear.
Premier League title, mate.
Premier League title. So a League Cup or FA Cup, you ain't going to be happy with that.
Listen, for me, a Champions League or a Premier League, fair play, deserves his flowers. An FA Cup saves him. Otherwise, it's going to be, where do we go from here? Like, we're five seasons in.
You can't win it all, though. Not everyone can win everything.
No, I get that, Joe. I get you can't win everything. And I'm not asking him to do trebles and quadruples, but I'm asking, where are we going? If we're going to
You should ask. It's nice.
Dan, you
can't win everything.
So smug.
You can. We got someone.
It's nice, though.
You have to think about the last 6 years.
Nathan Jones stopped them getting the quad. It's mad, innit? Sorry, go on, Steve.
You have to be perfect to beat Manchester City. We got 97 points and finished second. We lost 2 games in 3 years and only won 1 league title. So you have to be absolutely perfect to beat those guys. So yes, there's pressure on Arsenal. Yes, there's pressure on the project and Arteta and the money spent. But these are unprecedented times in the entire history of the first division of English football. There's not been a Manchester City. When Man United were dominating football, there wasn't a Manchester City. When Liverpool were dominating football, when they did it, there wasn't a Manchester City. That's like an anomaly and a misnomer that's in the league at the moment. It is so hard to get past the line with Manchester City there. They are so good. They are so well coached. They are so well managed. They're tactically pretty much spot on every single game. So if you don't win the title, it's not failure. It really isn't. So for Liverpool to have gone over 90 points 3 times and only won 1 title, Man United only got over 90 points once in their entire existence of winning all the trophies they won. So don't be so hard on people if you don't get over the hill against Manchester City, because we're just in a different era with them. They're just different to anyone else has ever encountered.
I guess what it
before.
is, Steve, I agree what you're saying, because obviously Pep Guardiola at the moment, is very, very difficult. I guess the difference is if you are given a chance to win the league, which Arsenal were last year, do not throw it away, because that's when you'll come in for big
They
criticism.
didn't throw it away. You won it.
No, they threw it away. They threw it away.
They did.
The West Ham game was huge, wasn't it? And Southampton.
People talk about West Ham. Southampton at home. We faced Southampton the week
did
before. We beat them 2-0 away from home. They conceded 3 goals against Southampton at home. They conceded a goal after like 1 minute. I'm sorry, but that is bottling the league.
City lost to Brentford home and away. So there's games where you can look at it and say, start the season when City don't start the season well. What they do is they build momentum, and after Christmas they just win 15 games in a row. And unless you match them, you've got absolutely no chance. And that's always been the thing that people have said. And Liverpool did it towards the end of the season. And Arsenal did it sort of mid-season, and then it fell away a little bit because it's really, really hard to do. City, it's like a horse race where the champion comes up on the rails and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's really, really tough to get 90-odd points to overturn City. I think Arsenal's in a great position. The project's really good. The money's expensive, what you've been spending. I get it, Dan. I understand that. Yeah. But I don't think there's a clamour for the press and the fans to say, you've got to overturn Manchester City. We've done it once, and we've been that's arguably one of the best squads Liverpool's ever had. Not the best team, but the best squad. And we couldn't do it. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. They just know how to win 15 games in a row. And you shouldn't persecute your own team for coming up against a machine like Manchester City. We'd have won so much more in a different era with this squad, but it is what it is, and we can't change it.
Yeah, man, listen, you make some good points. I get it, mate. We're talking about Man City who are top, right? We're not talking about trying to scrape and save with teams that are no good. My point is that I need to see this guy get over the line and win something. And I want to make sure by the end of this season that he's fully backed so that I can know whether Mikel Arteta is the nearly guy like Brendan was and we're waiting for Jurgen Klopp to come in and win us, take us over the line like Liverpool did, or whether he's the guy to take us forward. And I pray and hope that this guy does it. I really do. I want Mikel Arteta to go and win everything with Arsenal. Of course I do, right? But I think we're going to find out this season. I really do. I really think we're going to find out what he's all about. And I think he needs to win something, man. Listen, we're going to come to a close, people. There's been nearly 1,000 of you watching live. That's absolutely mad. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody for getting us to 10K. That was my target, and we've got there. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. That's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. To do that in my first year is superb. And it's a massive thanks to all of you for coming on and all of you guys in the chat. So thank you so much, people. Absolutely amazing. My thanks to Steve. Absolute pleasure to have you on, bro. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
No worries. Thanks for having me. And well done on your 10K, mate. It's already deserved. And I've been in with some of you guys in the stream before, and those are the first time. Good to have a chat with you.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome, bro. Thank you so much, mate. How can people follow you, Steve?
Get me on my socials when the season starts. Obviously, you'll catch me talking a bit of footy with the Red Men TV and on Grizz Khan's channel on a Sunday night with the Red Fellas. And hopefully I'll get an invite from you to come back, mate, so you might see me on here again.
Absolutely, you will. Absolutely, people. Make sure you go over to Red Men TV and go over to Steve Plunk. You can see there on his socials. Joe, how can people follow Championship football? Leeds. How can people follow Leeds?
You're going to do me like this all the time. You told me as well. 10K is appearance fee time, so I expect a $5.
He's only here for the money.
Just your football show, and I'm just really grateful to still be able to pump content out with all you guys because you're all. Sorry for swearing, but you're all class, man. So, yeah, I'll be here whenever you need me, mate. EFL season starts soon. Let's go, man. Man United on the 12th pre-season. We're going to get dicked. But
yeah, you haven't even got a manager yet, have you?
No, exactly, mate. No.
Don't worry, we can relate. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's going to be all right, Joe. You'll sort your ownership out.
Just send me some of your loanees. I'll take some loanees off all of you.
Ownership sorted, manager sorted, back in the Prem next season, man. That's the way to do it, bro.
That's
the
plan.
way to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. D, always a pleasure, man, having you on. How can people follow you? What you got coming up, bro?
Yeah, at D Palace and at Back of the Nest Crystal Palace fan channel. I'll be honest, there isn't much about Palace right now. I'd rather not talk about Palace. I'm happy that we avoided the topic. Follow us.
I've got to say, we've been linked with Mark Gay in the last couple of days. So,
how much? D wants
80 million.
How much are you willing to pay? Let's talk business right now. How much are you willing to pay? How much are you willing to pay?
You want more than Declan Rice, D? I'm telling you.
Oh my God! No.
I mean, I don't. You can afford Mark
We've
Gay,
been linked with Elise as well.
D wants 80 million for Gehi, 70 million from Elise.
Nah, Elise is out for like 4 months with a hamstring tear.
For 3 months. Yeah, he's out for not 3 months. We don't know. He's got a hamstring injury, so yeah, that's great. Jordan
has Zaha signed? Has Zaha signed Ditting yet? Has he signed?
No, bro.
He's officially a free agent.
Officially a free agent right now. We haven't got manager.
That's funny because D told me that Zaha is 100% staying, so that's funny. That's funny.
Zaha hasn't officially left to join another club. He's just a free agent. He's just unemployed. He's still training at our training ground. He's still at Palace, technically. He's still at our training ground, but he's just not employed. We're basically using him for free.
Make sure he signs the ting, man. Make sure he signs the ting, innit? You know what I'm saying?
Trust me. Even if he doesn't, I'm not that fast. We can move on.
God! All last season, Zaha won't go anywhere. I'm not.
I don't think he'll still go because if he was to go, then he would have left. But I think
they've just done that mural, haven't they? As well, I've seen you done a mural.
Realistically.
And then he's going to Lazio
as well. He's bought Club of Stormzy as well in Croydon. So he owns Croydon AFC. But yeah, look, even if Zaha doesn't stay, as long as him not going to any other English club, I'll be happy with that. I think it's pretty much realistically it's between PSG and Palace, but we'll see.
Wow, what a choice.
It's not really. It's like what choice that is.
I wonder where I'd go if I was him. No, I'm only joking, D. I love you really, man. It's all love. Make sure you go with D Palace and Back in the Nest podcast as well. Pete, shout and plug your shit, man. What you got coming on?
We've got content coming out of our ears, all transfer content. We've got lots more coming this week. So, as you can see, just below my picture there, Loaded Mag NUFC. Click that subscribe. Very close to 6K, moving nicely. Heading towards that 7-8K, which is our target over the next year. So, come and join us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Make sure you do, man. It's top podcast. I can't lie. LB, City Extra, your own channel. What's happening, bro?
Yeah, man. So my own channel, we got the daily transfer videos. Hopefully get some of you guys on. Joe come on this morning actually for a collab. So I'll try and link up with some of you guys for daily videos. And then obviously it's City Extras, just like City content in it. So we're just doing the Gavardio thing at the moment because that's popping off. Looking like that's going to happen, man.
80 million, yeah? 90 million or something. That's crazy, man. Yeah, quality player, quality centre half, man. Yeah, that's going to be worth it, man. I tell you that he's top quality. Big up, LB. Thanks for coming on, man. Always a pleasure having you on, bro. Billy, mate, Race for the Europe show is round the corner for you, my friend. How can people follow you, bro?
At AV Billy on Twitter, and also the Total Screamers podcast as well. We've been leading very busy lives, so we've not been able to pump out too much content this year. However, hopefully that will change for the upcoming season. So keep an eye on things as far as that's concerned. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Make sure you go follow all these, man. Trust me, it's absolute quality content throughout this transfer window, which is going to be absolutely flying. I can see this one breaking records and going mad again, if I'm honest with you. We're going to be back every night. Make sure you come join us. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Once again, thank you so much for allowing us to hit 10K. That's amazing. Thank you all so much. Please smack a like on your way out. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. And as always, up the Arsenal. Take care, people.